So this video is a little different because I have a guest with me. For anyone who's into music and culture, you probably know his YouTube channel. Uh, Welcome to the channel, Andy Edwards. How are you, mate?
Hello, Danny. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You looking well?
I'm okay. I got a little bit of a cold, but we'll try and get through it. I might be a
Well,
bit sniffy.
that's fair enough. Uh, Got to wait for 30 seconds. I'm not going to start swearing. Uh, so we've been chatting recently. We both had a similar experience earlier in the year of leaving a musical project due to politics, shall I say, and wokery.
Yes, that's the only way to describe it, isn't it? Yeah, I've had a similar thing happen to you. Not as quite as bad as yours, because you seem to have been uh kicked out by the whole band, haven't you? You've been disbarred from polite society type of thing, haven't you?
Yeah. And what happened with you?
It was one of the guys in the band who I'm also in business with, objected to certain posts on Facebook that I'd put up. One of the things he objected to was the fact that I'd said that I didn't think the writers were far right,
Yeah.
which
Uh,
has become sort of now they have they've now studied this in depth, haven't they?
yeah.
The powers that be, and it's been found out that it was mainly a bunch of kids that saw something going on outside their front door and ran out and said, "What's going on? Can we have a go? Oh, brilliant! We can do some smashing and crashing. It can't wait." So it was mostly that,
Yeah, but
and
it was made out at the time to be like Combat 18 in recalled, wasn't it? Yeah.
then yeah, it's totally mad, and also I my politics have always been quite left wing, I'd say,
Yeah.
and quite woke. I was very woke because I'm a sort of middle class type of bloke, and I'm a musician, and I've worked in
Yeah.
the arts, so I've always been a bit touchy feely like that. But when the Brexit thing happened and then COVID, I started to feel a little bit uncomfortable from my sort of wokeness
Yeah.
about all my middle class friends saying that everybody was racist, that the reason why people had voted Brexit was because they were racist. And I
Yeah.
thought, surely the British people aren't racist, because my problem is I'm a very patriotic man,
Yeah.
and so I like England. I basically like England. I like the
Yeah.
United Kingdom. I like the countryside. I like the buildings. I like the shops. I like the stupid things British do because it makes me funny. I like Carry On films, Monty Python. I like
Yeah.
British rock bands like Led Zeppelin, and I like progressive rock. So I like a lot of British things, and so I started to feel that, well, it's like if I wanted to protect that as a culture, would I be being a racist? Because I would argue for any other culture to protect their culture as well. I don't want to go to Italy and it looked like England.
Yeah.
And so that started to grow in me a little bit. And so um, I've had the music channel for now 3 years, and that's how I earn my living now, is through the
Yeah.
music channel. That's been a wonderful thing to happen to me. But more recently, I've noticed even there, just trying to chat about music, you say the wrong thing and bang, they're in.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know. Obviously, you're a professional musician. I was a hobbyist, but what I found with a lot of people, there's some great people in music. Some of my best friends I've met through music, but there are a lot of, let's put it, assholes. People who come across as woke as hell, and they're all touchy and feeling loving, and then the second they're not being watched, they are the most. They're more right wing than the right wing. They hate everyone that doesn't think exactly the same way that they do. That's my experience, anyway.
Yeah, and it's more that I object to. I'm actually quite a liberal person, so I think
Yeah.
anybody can have whatever ideas they want, believe what they want. But if those ideas are stupid, I want to be able to call them out. Now, I when I did my degree, which is back in the 1980s, that wokery was there.
Yeah.
40 years ago, it was in the art colleges, right?
Yeah.
And so there was quite a battle going on when I was at art colleges, because there were some feminists saying that men should not eat, there was the male gaze, and we shouldn't even be drawing the life models
Yeah.
because it's my son. And so there's a lot going on and a lot of people smashing stuff up. And I got interested in that back then, the sort of philosophy behind it. And I've studied it quite closely ever since. And after a while, I came to think, well, this is just a nonsense. It's not so much what people think, although I don't agree with it. I know why they act like that.
Yeah,
I've studied the philosophies behind what these people are saying and how the sort of revolutionary types, and you always need a few revolutionary types, but the sort of that teenage revolutionary type that wants to, pull the society down
yeah,
and build it up in their image of what they think would be wonderful. They have some problems in envisaging that. And one of the problems they have is the middle classes, because
yeah,
the middle classes don't want a communist utopia. And so I think what's happened over the last 40 years is they've slowly been infiltrated by the colleges, by the education system,
yeah,
so that someone can, because if you notice, the people who are like this are so middle class, they're
yes,
so wealthy and privileged. And so I
yeah,
can't help that they are assuaging their guilt by going, I put a thing up for BLM and I support trans rights and I support this and I support that. And now can I just be left alone to have my vast wealth here and live in
yeah,
my little enclave where I'm nowhere near any of the stuff that these horrible white working class people go on about. I'm sure they're
yeah,
making it up. And I feel it's just an extension now of it's like the good life. It's like, Margot and
yeah,
Jerry Ledbetter, that if you made that now, they would be woke.
yeah, and bugging me backwards with showing our age now, mate, with reference to the good life. So anyone under 30, not a fucking clue. Not that
See, I
anyone.
don't have to think about that with my channel. Because I think when I look at the statistics, the average age of my channel is somewhere around about 74, I think.
Okay, fair enough. So your new channel, Nothing Something Anything.
Yeah.
A middle-aged man driving around ranting in his car. Can't see that catch, you know.
Well, I was very influenced by this bloke who I used to. Well, I thought, is this bloke walking a dog or is he just walking? I can't tell. But there he is,
Yeah,
going and walking a dog, perhaps that we never see,
yeah,
and ranted into his phone. And I found that very, very funny, to be honest. And I thought I quite like that. And I thought this bloke has been able to create a YouTube and perhaps even monetized keeping fit in the afternoon, because I think that's what you do, isn't it? There's obviously you're going to go for a walk, and that's that. And I thought, he's that bloke's clever. I wonder if I could monetize dropping the kids off at school, and I have.
well done. I've been watching your channel. Well, it's been going about 3 months now.
Yeah, about 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, often when I'm doing cooking, I'll have yours up because your videos are like 35 minutes long, and you do it in one take, and it in a way that pisses me off because I spent 3 hours doing a 10-minute video. But what
Well, it's
topic are
exactly
you?
the same thing. You have your mistakes all at the end, and then I'll
Yeah,
all the good bits in the main bit. I just spread them out.
yeah,
I just spread them out all the way through the video.
yeah.
I used to be a college lecturer, so I got to be honest. It's like I don't mind going wrong. In
Oh,
fact,
okay.
the more I can go wrong, the better it is for me.
Yeah,
Um, I've done an interview this morning with this guy, another bloke who is really fed up because he was teaching a non-woke university course and he's now been kicked off and he's now made redundant and it was all going wrong in it. And he was going, "Oh, keep it in, Andy. I love it," because I was getting, all annoyed. So yeah, I don't really worry about going wrong.
oh no, that's fair enough.
That's it. It is what it is. But the thing is that I haven't got your timing. You're funny. You are funny.
Thank you very much for the compliments.
So
Uh,
I imagine, when you're doing yours, I think you've got an idea of where you're trying to go, because you have
yeah,
definite sort of punchlines and a little rhythm. Whereas if I'm funny, it's because I'm basically an old bloke ranting aimlessly, and the fact that I can't get my words out right, it doesn't really matter in that context.
but you do show you're a very knowledgeable chap. You know a great deal about the subject matters you're talking about. I find them very enjoyable to watch because it's just
Well, the one thing with me, why I did the politics channel? The first thing is that I was getting such a pushback where people were going, I don't come to your music channel to be interested, hear your
yeah,
political opinions. And I thought, well, I didn't know that was the rules. I thought I could
yeah,
talk about whatever happens. I mean, I did the 10 greatest packets of crisps the other day. No one seemed to mind that. So it's just when I talk about this you don't like. But to be fair to them, I thought fair enough. I will drop down the politics on the main channel and shove it over to this other channel. And the my original idea was to is to have it as a discussion. And this is the first week I've done that. So, I'm going to interview you a bit for mine, and you will be the
Yeah,
second interview. But I just wanted to have I wanted originally to have an idea where the channel would just be a forum for normal people,
yeah,
but with opinion to talk, because I don't think that's happening at all. It's always a pundit. It's always
yeah,
you've always got to have a pundit. And the likes of you and me are never going to get on trigonometry or any of those things. And I have approached it, and it's like they are a cabal. I tell you, they're
yeah,
protecting their realm. So I thought it'd be nice to have that and just have normal people talking on. And I meet so many people who've got interesting stories around the sort of contemporary political situation. But when I worked it out, because when I was at college teaching music, I studied YouTube first, and I worked a way out of monetizing it. So the politics channel monetized after 5 weeks of setup,
well
and
done.
and the reason is because, as you know, it's got to be rhythmical. It's got to come out every single day at the same time, sort of. The audience has
Yeah,
got to know what they're in store for. And you've got to be able to deliver that. So when I came up with the talking in the car idea, which I now actually think is much better than I originally thought,
yeah,
it's because it's like yours. Your videos are lovely because you're chatting, but I'm also getting to see nice countryside. So
yeah,
even if I was, a sort of, touchy-feely lefty, they could still watch yours with the sound turned down and appreciate a bit of nature, surely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
what they're
yeah,
moaning
well,
about.
yeah.
It's a
I
white bloke
think
in there, isn't it? A white
yeah.
bloke with a beard.
Oh my God. I've heard he's heterosexual as well, the bastard.
That
But it's not,
AC/DC band, they're misogynistic. We were quite chuffed, weren't we, that we
yeah,
without being able to
yeah,
without we great minds think alike. It's great, yes. So yeah, so
and we do as well. Yeah,
that's what the politics channel's for. It's
yeah,
basically I felt a lot more calmer because I was getting so frustrated by things. I think it's a cathartic thing. I'm sure
yeah.
you feel like this. You think something, you go, why can't somebody bloody say something about this? So.
Yeah, with politics now. I used to avidly listen to the Today program on Radio 4, and now I just can't listen to it because to me, they're just pushing an agenda all the time.
All the time,
Like,
yeah.
they won't even call Hamas terrorists. It's like,
Well,
so,
I'll get in the car and I get the kids, drive them to school, put the Today program on, and it's all there for me, right?
yeah,
And I can promise you, this is something this definitely true. 20 past 8, put it on. They'll always be talking about Trump every single time. It's always Trump at 20
yeah,
past 8. So they have the Trump rant at that point, and then they go to a bit of sport.
yeah,
And so there was quite a lot of stuff on my channel about Trump because I just would I would just rail at whatever the agenda they were pushing at that point when I was taking the kids to school. It's
yeah,
unbelievable, and sometimes I feel myself shouting at the radio
yeah,
because of the incredible bias that I don't think they I don't think those types know that they're like that. I think they believe that they're in a special club of sort of we're the clever, nice people that live our
yeah,
life properly, and it's absolutely bizarre. So, for example, with that Today program, every morning they're criticizing Trump, and I'm like, are these people really believe that Trump is any worse than any other president of America? That
yeah,
he's some way more corrupt than Clinton, or more corrupt than Obama, or more corrupt than
yeah.
Biden? I can't believe the naivety of thinking that he's uniquely evil.
Yeah.
Trump's uniquely evil. I don't think he's the best bloke in the world. You
No,
know,
I agree with you.
and
But
so and then if I say that, then they go, "You're a Trump simp."
yeah, yeah. Have you had much abuse on your channel yet? In the
Oh,
comments?
I've had two death threats. Although the one death threat was quite comical because it was some bloke pretending to be American, and they left a message on my Facebook going, "I'm gonna come over for the United States, and I'm gonna put a cap in your ass." and they were doing all this thing, and I thought, well, that's a death threat, and everyone was going, you should go to the police with that. I thought I'd be embarrassed to play them that.
Yeah.
So I've had two death threats, but I've had massive pushback. I've had other YouTubers making, pushback videos and all that. Have you had that yet, where people replied to you?
I've not had any pushback videos. I normally get it in the comments. And I did a video on flat Earth recently, and I loved it because I knew the flat Earthers would come. And it's evil of me, I know, but when someone has written about 20 paragraphs explaining why I'm wrong, I go delete, and it's gone forever. He spent hours doing that. You're on my channel, mate. Other than YouTube moderators, I'm God. So yeah,
Well, I can't do that because I promised early on that I would never delete comments. And for some reason, they think I do delete comments because YouTube's doing all sorts of nefarious
God,
things.
yeah,
And so they go, you're deleting my comments. And I go, I'm not. I can see your comments. And they know you're not. You're for free speech. And now you're deleting the comments. So that's a very common row. I have to be honest. I differentiate between someone who's massively against me, but just sits there turning up every week to reasonably argue with me. I have no problem with them. And I grow quite affectionate with those types. And
yeah,
every now and then we drop the guard. And I go, I'm glad you're here, mate, because I wouldn't have any material if it wasn't for you. And they go, yeah, well, I do like what you do, Andy. I know you're a good guy. And I think that's all I want out of life.
yeah,
What I would want is all the normal people to go, yeah, I know you're lefty, I know you're touchy feely and you're into all the trans thing and all that, but we're still mates, aren't we? Yeah, I'm still mates, and just that's all I want, and I don't want to be horrible to anybody, but I do think that these ideas are always walking their way to some sort of violent end,
oh God, yeah.
you
I
know.
think the far left are every bit as bad as the far right.
Yeah.
Different sides of the same coin.
But what the thing is that in after the 20th century, we were all inoculated to the far right. So, people like you and me who are just flirting with a bit of the old far right, just a bit, might do some goose stepping at home or something like that, just flirting with it. We know when we go too far, don't we? Because you've got the
Yeah,
Nazis as an example. As soon as you go towards the Nazis, you can go on getting a bit too into this now.
yeah.
But the left haven't got that. Even though
No,
they got Pol Pot and Stalin and Chairman Mao and bloody North Korea and all these things that are far worse, for
yeah.
some reason they don't equate their ideas of moving inexorably towards that end, which I find absolutely baffling.
Uh, I listened to Alexi Sales podcast, and he's super left wing, isn't he?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at least he can joke with it. He made the comment, "Oh, my mum used to say you can't make an omelette without murdering 40 million people."
Well, I can see why you're watching the Alexis sale, Danny, to be honest, because I
Well,
can see that you're trying to set yourself up as the sort of antithesis to him.
well, I'm bald and I've got a beard, so I'm halfway there.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
You just need a bit of that sort of Cockney Trotsky banter.
yeah. Ah,
I don't mind old proper lefties. I don't
I
mind
don't know.
actual Marxists. I don't mind them. They've got a set of standards on them, and you know where you are with a proper Marxist. What
Yeah,
I don't like is these virtue signaling types that actually would never do any of the things that they talk. So here's an example of it. If you go to liberals, right? Liberal, progressive, middle class types. Oh my God. Sorry about this. I'll switch this off now. Oh, could I answer this? Sorry about this. Bloody hell. Everything is what happened to the other video. Hello, Grace. Grace, I'm in a meeting. Like earlier this morning. Why do you always ring me up when I'm doing a YouTube meeting? Can I call you up in a bit? Well, just let me sort this out because you've ruined another interview again. All right, see you then. Bye. I don't know how she does it. It's
who is it?
my daughter.
That's your daughter,
But I
okay?
tell her, I say, I'm doing an interview at this time, and she hasn't rang me up all day. And as soon as it gets to that point, this is what she was doing earlier. I do apologise for that. You can edit that out or keep it in. It's up to you.
Oh, we'll have a play about with it later. Where were we then? Oh, Marxists.
Yeah,
Old school
I don't mind a proper Marxist. I've got a lot of affection, especially that sort of well-off, educated Marxist, like a
yeah,
Corbyn or a Tony Benn, and that I like those types. But with the sort of, I think this is really odd. It's a certain type of middle class person, an educated
yeah,
middle class person, that they live their lives. They'll get married. They'll have two kids. Their kids will go to school and university, and they'll have all that. They'll have their nice house. They'll have all the money that comes in. They will keep and invest and build
yeah,
upon it, and they will separate themselves from the rest of the world, as every middle class person should do, right? But
yeah,
then they will champion, say, trans issues,
yeah,
and you go, well, you're not really championing those because you have gone to this very established nuclear family, which the Marxists don't like that. They want us all
yeah,
living in a communal state, all sat around tables together, and there's all different moms and dads walking around. It's all shared out, and they've all got nose rings, and nobody quite knows what gender they are.
yeah,
That's what you're championing, but you're not living like that.
yeah,
But when your kids then turn around and act like that, you will support that wholeheartedly,
yeah,
um, which in the end could be damaging to the kids.
yeah,
And I can't see where the through line is with that. So as a college lecturer, I was very sensitive to the trans kids. I had a lot of time for them,
yeah.
but I couldn't help but thinking these are just emo and goth kids.
Oh God, yeah, yeah,
They're just goth kids. 10, 20 years ago, they'd just be goth kids,
yeah,
right? But I could see that there was a lot of torment going on. But I can't help being English at finding a man dressed up in a dress who's middle-aged very funny, you see.
yeah,
And the reason why I think that is funny is because we know that that bloke who's doing that isn't like one of those trans kids that's confused and trying to express themselves and maybe
yeah.
even feels that they're in the wrong body. Fair enough. And they want to live like that. Fair enough. Got no problem with that. But those middle-aged blokes are a completely different breed. That's another breed of type.
Oh, they're just guys living out their fetish in public because now it's been accepted.
It's like they found a loophole, isn't it? And
Yeah,
they can't believe it. Oh my God. This trans thing's a gift. It's a gift from God.
years ago, I had a mate of mine when I still lived down south, and his neighbour was called Kim, and Kim was about 6'4", and I saw him one day, black mini dress and heels, walking up the steps with a wheelie bin on each shoulder. It's like, you delicate feminine flower.
And it's like it's so obvious that they're getting a kick out of what they're doing.
Yeah,
That is obviously what the thing is that's there for them. And yet these middle class types, when you go back to them, they can't differentiate. They can't see
no,
the difference. And so you got some horrible looking bloke with incredibly large false breasts and an awful wig saying, I want to kill J.K. Rowling and exposing their fake breasts to everyone that's walking past children and shouting at any women. And they will go, well, that's absolutely fine. I
yeah,
mean, they should be totally allowed to speak. I mean, they don't feel safe.
no, yeah, but the women in the toilets don't feel safe when a 6'5" man in a dress turns up, but yet they play the victim with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's that type of nuance and also ability to just go, well, let's wind this down and actually see what is the truth here. Because the thing with the trans thing is that I think nobody ever says is if someone's a really good trans, so you can't tell, they're really good at it.
yeah,
I don't want to send them off into a mailbox.
no,
That would be a bit dodgy.
yeah,
These ones that look really convincing. You wouldn't want to put one of those in a male prison. They wouldn't last 5 minutes, would
oh
they?
God, no,
So I don't think it's cut and dried. But that's the problem. None of these things are cut and dried. It's all nuanced, and
yeah,
nobody wants to accept that. And we're not here to solve it. The politicians here. We're here to poke fun at it. That's all you
yeah,
could
that's
do.
it. And
So And
Yeah,
I found on the politics channel, I started to be more serious. But actually, I find the best way now is to almost like go towards that sort of woke attitude a little bit and act
yeah,
like it is real and just act my way through it until you get to reducto ad absurdum, and you get to that point where you go, oh God, this is just bonkers.
yeah, yeah. Well, British politics, I think, is pretty bonkers everywhere at the moment, and it's
But
just
it's
my
all
opinion.
it's falling apart, isn't it? It's all falling apart. We need to get a grip back on who we are.
Well, I was watching PMQs yesterday, and as soon as Starmer gets up, I started to think, "Fuck me, he's in charge. That's the man running the country who gave an answer was, you're a fucking barrister, mate. You're a lawyer. Why can't you talk?" Oh, no, I'm going off on one now.
I don't think you know how to pronounce the word bastard properly after the thing. I'll give you some lessons in it. It's
Yeah,
bastard. You were going barristard or something,
yeah,
like a Cornish pirate barristard. He's a barristard. Sorry
yeah.
about that stupid joke, but
I'll
I
do all
find
right.
that's the only way I can get through all this is by having
Yeah.
a laugh about it.
Oh
Keir
God, yeah.
Starmer, I, what I don't understand with Keir Starmer is how his name rhymes with so many words that are apt. So you can go
God,
Keir Starmer, the farmer hom, or Queer Starmer. Whatever happens, his name is just as though it's been designed to fit the
yeah,
bonkers things he's doing. And um, I got to be honest, when he came out as extreme far right the other day. I
yeah,
did love that after all this, and I thought, bloody hell, I thought you were just an insane lefty pretending to be a normal politician. But now I don't think you are. I think you're completely insane. And my friends were going, yeah, but he's only come out as far right because he wants to beat reform. And I said, I don't know. I don't know whether he's actually completely insane because he's maybe his aides. I think he's autistic. You see, that's basically what it is. I
fair
think his
enough.
aides went, we got this reform, and they might have a bit of a point, with all these people streaming over the borders and the immigrants not, they're not really integrating that well, and it does seem to be whipping up a bit of stink. So maybe you should go a little bit reform. And there's like, I will go reform. And then before you know it, it's like, whoa, Keir, calm down. You got Farage going, Kia, they are people. You can't just talk to them about all the normal far right. Go, Kia, don't be so horrible to the Muslims. Most of them are fine. No, no, we must get rid of them now.
Yeah.
Is this too much? Calm it down.
Ah, I can't. It's a weird situation where politics in Britain at the moment, Nigel fucking Farage looks like the sensible option.
Oh my God, I know. I know. And the thing is, I'm not stupid. When that vacuum happens, some millionaire or billionaire will step in and go, I'm on your side, so come and join
Yeah,
with me and we'll sort out the working class. Come on, let's go up and keep that, blast furnace open, everybody. We'll nationalise that. I've never
yeah,
been for nationalising anything before, but we'll do it now. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Where's a decent Labour Party? A normal, like people like John Prescott that just go round championing the working class and punching anybody in the face. I mean, that
yeah,
one bloke, he always gets used by the far right, doesn't he? You know that bloke who punched that bloke to the ground. And then Lucy
yeah.
Connolly, they stick her in prison for ages, but what's his name? Mark something, the
Not
bloke who,
quite happening.
yeah, he's proper Labour. They should be bringing him out. Send him
Yeah,
in. I don't mind voting for him.
yeah. So there we go. Thank you, Andy. Thanks for letting us know you will vote for a man who assaults people in public.
Well, at least they can stand up for themselves.
Yeah,
You want a politician who can stand up for themselves, don't you really? Because it's the namby-pambiness that I can't stand. I mean, as soon as they shot at Trump and he got back up again, once he got back up again and he did that, everybody wanted to
yeah,
vote for him. That's what
yeah,
everybody wants.
yeah.
I think next time there's a far right riot, Starmer needs to turn up himself there and just wade in.
Jack booted, baseball bat
Yeah,
with a nail through
beat it up both sides.
it.
Muslims and far right, all but
Yeah,
just get in there, and wouldn't you? You go, I can't, I gotta give him, gotta give him that. Look at that, he's
yeah.
right in there.
Yeah.
I'm joking. None of this, I believe.
No. Anyway, Andy, I'm going to start wrapping this up now. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on here today. Um, Again, nothing, something, anything. Everyone, go and check out that channel. And he's a bloody clever bloke. He's a very funny guy. And from where I know you outside of YouTube, you're a nice chap as well. It's
Well,
been a pleasure.
I do try to be. If you actually got to know me a bit better, Danny, you realise that's not the case, and I'm a bit of a sort of how would you put it, a megalomaniac. But I try and keep that hidden from view, which I'm glad I've been able to do. No, I just think we just got to have a laugh about it. That's why I
Yeah,
loved yours so much because you make me laugh out loud, and
thank you.
there is always this indignation under what you say.
Yeah,
It's and you're able to express that. I think it's the English gentlemanness combined with the sort of uh, the sort of what we used to call the rocker thing, the sort of metaler, the
yeah,
hard rocker. Those two things together, I find very enjoyable. Anybody who's into heavy metal, stomping around the countryside, I enjoy.
yeah.
You've
Cool.
got me there. You've got me there. You ever see that video where Brian Johnson goes to meet Robert Plant and he comes over that bridge dressed as a Welsh king?
No, I have. No, I have to look that up.
Oh, check it out.
Ah. So anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, sir. So I'll wrap that up now because we've got another one to do straight
Yes,
afterwards. So,
lovely. Yes,
yeah,
thanks for having me on. Thanks for.
thank
I'm
you.
so proud to finally be on Disgruntled Danny's channel, whichever this one is, number 2 now, isn't it? You couldn't
Yes,
keep your
number
old one.
two. Right, buddy. I'll see you shortly.
They're
Okay.
lovely.